Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one we have Kindred once again because they're one of the best champions in the game. I love them, you love them, and you know, usually they're pretty good for snowballing and controlling the outcomes of the games you want to carry. So every game. However, in this one, we're not exactly going to have a free run of the place. And it's really going to have to be a case of, hey, we're down 2.5, 3, 4, 5,000 gold, you know, by the end of the early game. How can I just absolutely flip the game on its head and win it? And that's where Kindred specializes, because if you're going always 30, 45 minutes with Kindred, you're probably messing up a little bit. So let's look at how we can become a mechanical menace. And yes, I'm using Bo from Vitality or Zib. I did a full expose and breakdown of his playstyle on my main channel, just released about 20 minutes ago. And you'll see some Kindred highlights there of really beautiful mechanical stuff. But I think when you're playing a Kindred with Conqueror like this, it's really the solo carry kind of rune set. The Treasure Hunt is interesting, but the Treasure Hunter, he almost runs in everything. Why? Because it allows a crucial itemization to be finished a lot earlier than enemy junglers, specifically when you play aggressively. And when you're Kindred, you do need to play aggressively. And sorry, I had to cut there because there was a mosquito just kamikazed my face and I didn't enjoy it. So we're going to go for the Red Raptors Grump Flexi clear that I covered in the main channel video as well. It's not a new clear. I just like to say Flexi because, you know, it used to be a Flex clear that I called it that years ago already, but now it's a Flexi clear because based upon the meta and what we're facing in terms of jungle setup, meta and roots, it's got so many options, so many variables that can come into their own. I mean, you need to level 2 gank here and then fall back, you can do that. You need a Grump bot lane, mid lane invade, you can do that. You need a Grump blue wolves, loop back around to the top side, take this crab, gank top lane and steal their second Grump because they started top side sequencing down. You can do that as well. You can do whatever the hell you want to do with this claim. That's why I like it. In Kindred's, you know, the Treasure Hunter allows them to aid in the Mark Snowball fantasy, but most of you just don't play aggressively enough. And even when you're behind an early mid-game phase, that's fine. But as long as you are strong, right? You don't really want to be behind, but typically you'll get back into it. But ideally, that's not the case. So because we know Viego starts on the bottom side and he goes top side here. So even if you didn't know, you see, 12 CS, he did the exact same clear. We're going to flex that into ganking on the bottom side because we know we're going to have no counter jungling pressure whatsoever. They're low, they're pushing. It's really disgusting, isn't it? You know, a challenger lane should be aware of this, but at the same time, you have to play your lane. It's on the Viego to also understand how he plays around that, you know? So both laners, both junglers picking good ganking procedure early, good aggressive pathing to punish lanes that they think will be gankable. They just do it on the opposite side, so not much you can do. I mean, as a laner, you just have to play your game. We do lose the RNG Mark spawn, and of course the Garen's got this in a good place, so Virkayu can easily repeat gank that. So what Kindred can do here and what Zib does so well is he's not too concerned about what the enemy jungler wants to do in terms of ganking, but he will crucially counter jungle you, he will crucially counter gank you, and he will always repeat and abuse lanes that he's ganked. And his tracking is exquisite. He just always has the sixth sense and understanding of what a jungler wants to do. So now we're going to go back to base. Obviously, this is really the dream, right? For Kindred, you're going to have boots, you're going to have Noonquiver. I did highlight the importance in the main channel video. If you end up on a crab here and you're against a full clearing jungler and you press tab and you see they have 4 smite charges and you have 3 smite charges, you know, you're not going to be able to smite them. But if it's the other way around and you have 4 smite charges and they have 3, you have that advantage over them. So please really start to look at this smite charge thing as a resource to press tab and track when you're fighting over neutral crabs and counter jungling, because it's a huge thing to know that you can outsmite someone or steal it away. We do have the Viego resetting and going for this RNG mark that will spawn on the Raptors. Of course, 45-second recharge time, 15-second disappearance. We know that. And now, obviously, this is where Zib can kind of get a little bit, not inty, right? Because he averages so few deaths a game, but a lot of his deaths are in these hyper-aggressive, not coin flippy plays because he kind of knows, but he does die in those situations. Like I covered one on the main channel where he died 3 times his graves making these kinds of counter jungling plays for Raptors and stuff. But his experience optimization is so damn good. His power thing is so damn good. He still got 6 first. He counter ganked first, killed the enemy jungler first, and then ran away with the game. So it's really good to look at every kind of style. We did lose our Krugs as well. Obviously, as soon as you show here with the same kind of clear, the Viego can always fall back and take that and take that. That's unexpected, but now because of this second Grump will spawn with a mug. And we're going to assume that the Viego is going to yeet that and then gank top lane. So it's an excellent strategy here to kind of cut the bottom side go to the top lane, knowing those Krugs are going to be up and the next mark will be in the Grump, so he can be there if Viego shows bottom lane, but also be there for a counter gank. We chuck the E for the slow. We don't have W, unfortunately, which is the sad thing, but we can keep trying to go because obviously if he has no flash, whoa! And that's fine. That happens a lot too. So the Garen goes ahead for a turbo flash moment. That's fine as well. And that's why I know there are other Kindred games, but this one had such high KP, with no one else on the team having any KP. And really, you'll see the match history link in the description below. It's in the description of every video. You can track the damage. You can track every sort of metric. Yeah, we're down in experience optimization. The Viego is doing good work. You know, equal and opposite ganking, denying the marks, being there, and mechanically playing well. But Zib doesn't tilt in these plays. Well, I'm sure at some point there will be tilted games. When you play so much, it does happen. But in the games I'm watching on the fresh account, there's not a lot of tilt. And yeah, I just fast forwarded, that is a glitch, but it's for the Viego, obviously. So it took my brain a second to catch up. Why is the Grump mark? That shouldn't happen. It should be going onto the Raptor camp here, because it's been a hot minute and this will spawn first. Which means, you know, if you're bot lane as pro, you're going to want to go for it. As Kindred mains, you know, yeah, we want to mark champions, we want to get the kills, but the Viego is doing a good job of not allowing the Kindred to get these marks. The RNG Crab is honestly more valuable in terms of just raw gold and experience at this point. We do want 6. We do have the Nautilus roaming with us. We do have a bit of pride from the mid lane, and we could go straight forward. I don't think Zib was necessarily looking for it. Rather just go kind of topside here, gank this, maybe counter jungle this and take this. I'm not really worried too much about that Raptor camp, but because his team is here, he is here, and obviously with the level 6 spike on the Viego, and you don't want to take this fight. You don't want to take this fight. So again, 3-2-1. We'll make these aggressive plays, but these will be the only deaths you see. You know, that's what's the most impressive thing for me. Is normally people will have pristine early games, they won't take any risk, they don't snowball really, they play a little too conservatively actually, and then mid and late game they have these huge leads and they just throw and die. He's the opposite. And much like all high elo aggressive junglers, they're looking to make these plays. If they get a kill assist back in exchange for death, that's fine, absolutely fine, because they know they'll use that gold advantage. So, here we have 2 marks, fortunately we get one from Viego's death. Out of base now, we've got most of the components necessary for Krak and Slay, but not quite finished. We are now losing our Raptors, which is absolutely tragic. I hate it when top laners move in, and this is a great example of, hey, top lane is taking my cams, I can't really gank anything, you know, I'm struggling with Viego cutting me off from the marks, but if you just play the damn game, you know, you're 3-2-2 at this stage. This, again, not the best chase down, and I love this game because the last one with Graves was Turbo 1v9. On the gameplay channel, I had 2 games with different game states, and this one, we're having to really play hyper-aggressively to try and defend our stuff and get things going in this game. And, you know, you're down, what, 1.1k at this stage? You're going to lose a Herald because of it. Oh, actually, we want to dive the Gangplanker before we do that. So he dies. They're going to get a bunch of plates now. We do have Nautilus and Swain in the river. At this stage, if you have had a game like this as Kindred, 3-3-2, I'll take that over you having lower KP and no deaths. Like if you're 1-0-1 or 0-0-1, I'd rather you be 3-3-2, trying to make plays, stacking treasure hunter, getting marks, actively trying to win the game, you know, because obviously the champion's kind of like Rengar in that sense, where you've got the marks and the bone tooth, and every time you die, it can really actually be a little bit beneficial. I'm not telling you to int, I'm not telling you to die, I'm not telling you to play hyper-aggressively like this. I don't think we needed to die as much as this. And I think we can all agree that's definitely the case, but hopefully you get my meaning, right? Hopefully you get my meaning. But because we know he's on the top side there, we're going to lose that RNG Scuttle mark as well. Well, let's just stop trying to fight the Viego. Let's go back to what we were doing that worked. Equal and opposite. Be where he isn't. Gank the lanes out of gankable with a Nautilus. It's absolutely free. We know we're losing this and this. Let's go ahead and snack ourselves an objective and a dragon. So when you have games where they start off beautifully, then your early game gets a little bit corrupted. Don't fall into the trap of of doing what you've been doing the whole game to lose. And of course, we didn't even lose the Mark or the Herald because we can see here the Viego shows up. So the Kindred says immediately, and this is where he's really good. If you miss something, if you make one misstep, if you show up where you shouldn't, even if it means compromising his pathing a little bit, he will go for it, secure it, and you will lose it. And that's huge. You know, if he expects you to do this and you don't, then he's on the bottom side, and then you go do it super late, he'll just collapse and kill you. Free mark, that's 3 now, right? That's absolutely, that's beautiful stuff. I mean, the dive of the top lane is great, but you know you had a free objective, plus a free crab, plus free denial that the Viego could have used. He chose to try and match the Kindred, and the Kindred decided to say, enough. I'm tired of dying. I'm going to try and get some other stuff for myself. Again, another fight. 4-3-3 now. Objective is up. And that's what's so beautiful about this. We are down now, 2,500 gold. Even after these plays, it has been a little bit tough to kind of stay in control. We have 707 KP. The Sivir at least hasn't died, but it's not a game where you kind of think, aha, we're snowballing now. Like if the Kindred had 9-10 marks, 3 items already, then it's not really fun to watch. Here, again, you could try and greed for this, but don't compromise your jungling for your marks. I know it's nice to go get them. And you've seen a good example of this game where enemy teams will just collapse and deny your marks, and if you only play for them, and if you vacuum your eyesight onto them, you die. You die. And now most of you are under challenger junglers, so you're not going to know how to correct those mistakes. Just jungle properly, and typically with good counter jungling, and most of the time with your diamond, platinum, gold, junglers against you when you're playing Kindred. I don't really recommend playing Kindred below that. I know you can, but there's just a certain champion knowledge and mechanical ability and game knowledge that needs to fuse in order for you to carry with Kindred. You'll find you'll get free raptors and free counter junglings quite frequently, actually, when they show up in the wrong space. So we do walls into Grump here so we can kind of go down and look for this, but we're actually going to loop back up because we see here the Garen going I don't know what word that was going to way too deep or very deep, I think, onto the gangplank, who's down 2 levels, which is understandable. And obviously now, because we defend this and move up, this is protected from counter jungling. Let's see, Kraken Slayer, Berserker's Greaves, a low Garen. Don't think it takes the Obi-Wan Kenobi beard rub to know that that's a dead Garen, and that's good. I love these plays. People don't make these plays for some reason. Like, they would be too obsessed with trying to do this. I mean, a dude's overstaying top lane enough to kill him, just kill him. And do you always want to necessarily just yeet everything? No, but at the same time, if you're just 1v9ing a game, then I think you should. We obviously have here a Silas with Swain ult. Ooh! Ooh, let's watch that again. See, this is what I'm talking about. Eventually, mechanics Ghost Tower will be necessary. All right, here we go. We have our ult available. We're going to make sure we save our E a little bit. There we go. Now we proc the E. We keep spacing with our Q. We flash over the wall. He flashes over. We pop him with it, and we ult just in case. It's actually a little bit tight on the ult, but let's just say that ult was just in case. But it's beautiful. It's exactly the kind of play that was made at level 3 in the video on my main channel with the Kindred. Super tight, but the use of the E is exquisite. The positioning with the Q, use of the flash, making sure you stand behind bodies that can kind of protect you from certain spells, and obviously keep auto-attacking, keep auto-attacking, keep auto-attacking. Use a Herald now in the mid lane. We have an RNG Scuttle on the top side here. 4 marks have been achieved, by the way, which means we're champion. We are officially now a marksman, and the problem with this is you're going to get to 10, 15, 20, and then you go next game, level 1, you're like, this doesn't feel so smooth anymore. It's always it's like the KO Kindred Rengar effect, you get so fed and so, you have so much fun with the champion, you gotta start all over again in the next game. It's like those platformers, all the way down. A little less frustrating, but hopefully you get my meaning. Garen's still pushing on the gangplank here, still up 2 levels. In the meantime, the mid lane tower is gone, which is kind of nice because we have the shove, but the problem is it's quite dark here because you see this V I'm drawing, kind of a flat V. Taking the mid in those situations is kind of rough because you can't push down the mid lane unless you have outer turrets taken. That's why people don't like taking mids strategically in terms of certain organized plays. Again, Garen's just out of position and it's so easy. How simple was this swing around, right? Look at this, we have the gold lead now. And all it took was what? Not inting, not chasing down mercs, not matching the Viego 1v1 and stupid invades again, swapping sides, and as soon as he made it a mistake, recognized it immediately and took everything that he left on the map. Collapsed on the top lane who's over pushing, the Viego, not shadowing Garen whatsoever, just letting him be by himself. Should the Garen move and do something else? Of course. But should Viego also be thinking about what he needs to do in order to win the game? Yes. I mean, this guy is taking himself out of the game, and honestly, again, the match history is in the description below. You can maybe watch the replay before the patch goes through if you want. The Kindred's all of a sudden up 2 levels. The Viego just hasn't pushed his lead enough, and that's where Zib, on whatever champion he plays, really does it beautifully. Now we're starting to get into the flow here. You see this? Kill the Silas, immediately turned onto the Viego. We get the slow, dead. Beautiful target swap, beautiful misdirected intent, and now again pushing. You see how we go from this to the kill to the mechanics to into this. And that's how you carry with Kindred, and that's why I love this champion, because if you have the jungle sense, the mechanical sense, it's so easy if you just don't get tilted. It's so easy if you just don't get tilted to carry games. Here we go, we have the Swain in the back line. We're going to flash and clean that up for ourselves. Oh, well, for our team. Good job, Swain. Thank you so much for the roam. And now we have a mark on the red, and all of a sudden that'll be 8. I mean, we went from 3 to 8. How quickly? I know it's tough in-game. I know it's tougher in-game to see the game, to see the whole map like he does. But can you see how easy it can feel and look when you just keep your eyes up, look to see what the next play is in the most logical sense? And honestly, all the deaths were just trying to make gear plays for marks and kills to snowball. But now he hasn't died since then, and he won't. He won't, he doesn't. Right. Invade their map, fall back to our jungle camps, back to base. We're going for Kraken Collector, and of course you can go to IE straight up. Why? Because it's just so good to absolutely terrorize the map and snowball and finish the game. There's no real reason to kind of... You could go PD straight into IE into GA, but I feel like with the Collector, you're just kind of amplifying that. I want to finish by 2025. Obviously, there is less power spike. You're delaying certain power spikes of PD and IE, but given that if you come from China, Korea, most likely this is always going to be the build. I mean, who's arguing with this? I do still prefer it if you're playing with like sort of a Kraken Collector RFC, but at the same time, the AD hits are disgusting. The Kraken gives you attack speed passive, and it's just disgusting the damage you do. I mean, really, Kindred's builds are all about feel, how you enjoy. There we go. How you enjoy playing the champion and what hits your spikes the best. You know, so it's not always a one size fits all with Kindred builds. This is 11.36. It's just absolutely insane how smooth it is. Take this, Mark and the Herald. Finally, a reason to take a second Herald where no one's going to complain about it. But I always say take second Herald. I've always said take second Herald. I think it's a valuable resource to push open games where you might be struggling pre-Baron to kind of advance your lead, specifically against teams that have good wave clear, might be scaling. It's good. You know, if you have 3 dragons in the first Herald, well, 3 dragons. If you have 2 dragons in the first Herald, perhaps, and you kind of just want to close the game out and avoid a soul point situation, the second one's really good for that. Now, here, obviously, we take this reset. Don't start to full clear again. Don't start to full sequence, okay? Take 1 camp while you're on your way to somewhere. So if you're on your way to the mid lane, you can kind of go Raptors mid lane. If you want to go bot lane here, just take Grump and go bot lane. Use this now, Herald, to create equal opposite pressure. The GP is dead again. Silver's going to watch top lane just in case the Garen stays. Obviously, he's not going to stay. We can use the Herald here to push on the bottom side. Obviously, they're all going to be resetting. And now, because you have such a huge lead and you're just a mechanical god, although that wasn't really that special, that was just good spacing. Do we need our team? No. Ooh, watch the Jinx, though. The Jinx AoE is still something so... There you go. Thank you so much, Nautilus. Appreciate you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Garen now dies. Is Garen just rage splitting, or what is... Nothing to add. Yeah, there's nothing to add to the game. See, top lane is, if you complain about your carry potential, as this Garen, after your jungler got you fed, it's on you. You got the elevated game state. This was taken for you. Why do you just keep going top lane and pissing it away? All on you. But again, if you're the Kindred, maximize this, right? Kill them, push the map, get the lead, get the gold. We have the control placed for the Viego, although I just like to slap it in the actual zone. The nice thing about Kindred versus Viego is you can always dodge his W, which is crucial. You dodge anything really because he's melee. But oh, you see these really tight Q flashes are so big, and they just FF. They just straight up FF this game. So it was a shorter game, but as you can see now, you go back to base, you take your top side, you take the Baron, you push top lane. You don't really care about the dragon. It's a really easy win. I'll leave a video description link to a video that explains how to close games out from this perspective, but it's really not that difficult. But yeah, great to see not so good beginning, a little bit of hyper-aggressive plays being punished, but how we can rebound from that. And yeah, really great Kindred game. Love watching Zip play. Go check out the main channel video for more nuance and more details. Apologize for any, waffling and things like that. As I said with the baby, I'm a little bit sleep deprived, but hope you enjoyed and learned something. Zada GG guys, Warwick and Volibear linked below, as well as many other champions coming very soon, so keep your eyes on that. And as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.